Alright, alright, alright. Welcome back. There we go. Let me get that in the right spot. Testing 1, 2. Alright, let's go back to the coverage desk. We're back for the top 4 here. With only 10 players in the event, instead of doing a normal top 8 cut, we've done top 4. And all the players are sitting down and getting ready right now. We've got Dylan, Wade, Ben, and John here. You've already seen everyone on stream except for Wade's Avengers team, so I'm really glad to be covering that here at the top table. And I'm looking forward to seeing what gets brought out. We have 2 Moon Knight teams and 2 teams that are not running Moon Knight, so we're going to see who is going to be the final one standing. There is no Morlun, there is no Bloodstorm up in the top 4 here, even though they had great showings at this event. So I'm very excited to see what comes out on top. Let's go ahead and go to the game live. We can watch them set up. And then we can kind of get going here. So here we go, we're already set up. And let me double tap with him to see who's going first, who picked this map, yada yada.
Yeah, Wade's going first. I pick map.
So we're definitely going to have to drop the volume just a little bit because other people aren't playing right now, so the room's not going to be as loud. So it's going to be a little bit more like whisper level to make sure they can't hear me. Or I'll commentate after things have happened, so they're not going to be able to take things back if I can see things that they missed.
What if I pull a choice on the card?
Yeah, hey. Dang, when I opened my brick, it was the sideways card, it was the normal, but for a second I was just like, I was like, wow, let's feel pretty happy with this. Feel pretty yeah.
That's it. I was just glad to get an attorney off Dylan. The card at least had an attorney. Every keyword.
It's 100 times better when you already have the figure.
Yeah.
You're like, I deserve this card. You hunt it down, you're like, fuck that, that's it down.
That's why I have to kill his domain every turn. So well, this game and the next game.
You guys all good? They carry you. You guys are good. All clear. That's good. Okay.
Yep.
Top 4 begins now. Good luck, everyone.
Well, machine trick. Attack or no, it's attack on 2. Damage on 3.
Oh, one's and one's.
Yeah. One's
Flex the
yeah, well, flex up Moon Knight's defense for no reason and pass.
Alright, the game is afoot here. We've got the map, we've got the blocking train blocking them in. Here comes the prep turn that we've come to expect from this rescue team.
And then free. I'm going to.
So just fully setting up here.
Like, no, I can't.
I don't think I was going to. I was considering
This is right up Ben's alley. It's monsters and dates.
Ben has to have this.
I do have a problem.
This meant to be.
Okay, that's true.
Alright, so we haven't yet seen this team here on stream, so let me go over it real quick. We've got the Grey Hulk, we've got 75-point Spider-Man here from the Black Panther. This is the one that has an outwit top dial, has hypersonic, and if he's adjacent to a terrain marker, he can't be targeted or have line of fire drawn to him. Blue Marvel here at 50 points for that knockback pulse wave. We've seen this Blue Marvel on other teams. Monica Rambeau at 50 is a really good slingshot attacker that can go down, make an attack, and off of a D6 roll come back to the starting line here. And then of course we've got the Doctor Strange from the new Strange Tales and War Machine as support here. So a lot of offense on this team, a lot of mobility on this team. And of course a lot of flexibility. Wade here is placed top 7 in the Canadian Nationals. He is definitely no slouch to be playing against here.
That's what the 4 was for. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Here go. Okay, man. Crap.
John, get first. So is that pretty good? Defense, so. What do you want to look at?
So far, none of the false moves in the first, so.
That's good.
I'm still optimistic.
So the question is, how do you progress this?
All these 15s and 40s.
You've got to progress through this map here, knowing that there's not a lot of places to hide. There's not a lot of good ways to defend your own team beyond the blocking markers that were placed at the beginning of the game. This team has some barrier that can be utilized, but it's going to be really tough to determine the best way to line this up if you're not familiar.
B16? Strange was in B16?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So your attack power ring in the
So here we go, trying to really lock in a defensive position here. You can see how important it is to have a plan when you're going second on these various maps.
That's time. Last declared action for guys.
That is specifically for Battle Royales. Our top 4 just started. So let's see where we go from here. That was one action. We've got 4 left. Because most of this team here is on the low ground, he's taken away as much space as possible here. Of course, we still have that scored directly above Spider-Man that could be pulse wave from, which would hit Spider-Man and War Machine. Otherwise, we've got the other side. If he can get rescued into the very back corner. So let's see here. We've got a judge ask.
I'm up on 3. Can I shoot down?
Not over the blocking.
No, the blocking.
Not unless you can ignore blocking somehow. Great size would get over it.
Oh, great size is the one that gets over it. So annoying. Trying to remember.
So just confirm here, making sure line of fire, how line of fire functions here between elevated and blocking in the lower elevation. The official ruling here is that the blocking on the lower elevation will block a line of fire as long as the target or the shooter is not of great size or has some way to shoot through it. But in a normal situation, the blocking is going to cover you. So let's see, it looks like we're trying to find a different route to victory here. We've got to math out the turn before any action's actually done to make sure that if we're going to spend this resource, this object, that we know it's actually going to get some use, because it's, you only have so many objects. He plays 2 total, so you've only got 2 shots, but you may not get in a second attempt if the first one doesn't get off. So we're going to watch this turn get kind of mapped out slowly. And we're going to see what he decides to try to do here. So here's the action tokens, his preferred way to do this here. It looks like he is going for that high ground if he can get there. It looks like it maths out well for him. Yeah, so our top 4 here, Sean, let me jump over to it for you here. He is going to be Dylan, John, Ben, and Wade. Let me go to the web page view here for you. This is what our top 4 is looking like. We've got Avengers, we've got that really cool Nightmare team we already saw, and then Double Moon Knight with a little bit different flavors. And we're just mapping out this first real attacking turn here. Both teams have already taken a turn, so no first turn immunity to worry about anymore. Rescue is on the hunt, looking for some way to get through all this blocking terrain to do this pulse wave.
What are we doing? No. Oh, okay. Okay. English. My turn. Yeah. Wondering why she looked at the hands.
She ain't got no what?
I'm gonna have.
Even if I take them off, it's gonna severely cap them.
Yeah, this is a very, very cool map here from the Spider-Verse. I absolutely love the bright colors and how visual it is. So we're trying to decide if this hit is worth it, and if we don't pull the trigger here, what are we going to do instead?
Yeah, we've only got, so we will free.
Looks like we are pulling the trigger here.
We are going to
We've used the object.
move through.
Should be the aerial extraction. We've seen this a couple of times here.
And then we are going to move to there. Oh crap. You okay if I move him?
Okay.
For the carry?
Yeah, they're in the top four, so totally up to you as a player if you're going to give something like that away or not.
Because I could sidestep carry him there and then. So, that's fine. I'll do this. Sidestep carry him.
Yep, got it.
There?
So,
He's got green lights. Yeah, and then going to carry.
So here comes Teen Lantern with the carry. We're doing the same trick here where we're trying to get the symbiote into the hit with the pulse wave. There's the barrier, so we've got the prob on it if we need it.
12 on numbers. I go there.
Looks like the placement's a little bit funky, just because the symbiote now isn't able to get there.
Two left. Oh, there's leopard on there. Okay, and then we're gonna run shot full sleeve to there. Yeah.
So here we go.
13.
He needed the prob, so luckily he went through all those steps to make sure the prob got there. Rolled a 7 there.
You can prompt through here. Yeah.
And looks like he is landing the prob.
Take one.
No knockback this time.
Take another.
Unless they've got knockback themselves. Let's take a look here.
And then we will up with pulse wave.
Oh yes. After resolutions and rescue uses running shot, you may knock back each hit character 3 squares.
I don't think it matters.
You care? Yeah.
There we go.
That's so tragic.
Important for rescue though, that knockback is not tied to the pulse wave itself, it's actually after resolutions.
That's so tragic.
And there was the mistake we saw there. Oop. So let's see. Is that the end of the turn? Do we have anything else? Yeah, looks like the turn's gone ahead and passed if we're taking down the barrier here. This is the first time we've seen this rescuer not just blow up the enemy team. Just 2 damage taken to Spidey. I don't think we rolled our one time.
So maybe 4 slots.
Or maybe he did. I might have just missed it. All I know is that that Spider-Man is still alive. So big choices here. We have everything to play for here on the map. A lot of different avenues. It just depends on which one he's going to prefer to go with. We're going to see a very careful approach to the turn here. There's one misstep here, and you may not survive a second attacking turn here if you can't do enough damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm spacing on what to do now, so I'm like, something's gonna go.
You need good places here. I could do that.
That sucks, man. Forgot to carry my symbiote. So I didn't KO it.
4, 5 we could do. And blonde hair. And 3 clicks left.
Yep.
So 5 kills here.
I need to.
5 kills here.
Thank you.
Might have to try. Might have to try. So
So it looks like we've gone ahead and found the target. We're going to want to get this rescuer out of the way here. This is a decent amount of points here.
3.
Mm-hmm.
13.
Yep.
So looking for a 5. There's one prob on it.
Mm-hmm.
Still cool stuff.
There it is.
Oh, shit. That's enough, eh?
5 and knocked out.
Yeah, with the knockback, that's going to do it. Let's take a look here. He does get hit down on a toughness.
And then knock back. Kill me.
5 and toughness, yeah.
So rescuer's still on last there.
So last click.
And let's see how we can approach the rest of this. Doctor Strange should ping 1 damage here for the probability control, since he did reroll the attack on Hulk.
So pulse wave and knock back will pick me.
A few folks
So that's going.
So he'll just walk to there.
Action.
Okay. See if we can get a hit in.
Maybe I'll let the damage hit now.
I'm still looking for stuff like that. Jeez.
So it looks like we're lining up where we can do some kind of assault here with Blue Marvel and the Falcon combination. Very, very similar to the Falcon and Rescuer. Just a little bit cheaper on points here. We've seen this figure do a lot of good work in other games, and I don't think it's going to be any different here. The question is when he's going to decide to commit.
There it is.
Oh my god, Team Lantern. I think what I'll do is I'll aerial extraction. Well, actually, before I do that, let's go Spider-Man.
Range check?
Yeah. Yes. Legacy.
Very easy.
There we go. That is enough to take it down. Rescue's been taken down by the Spidey there.
Stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
And Falcon swinging with Moon Knight, going from this bottom half of the map here, going up. And looks like we've done it just to get Hulk out of the way here. Do we have another route here for another attack? The great thing about Falcon is that your creativity as a player and how much you care about positioning is going to do a lot of work in determining what happens and where.
Movement?
Hmm?
What's it movement?
4.
Choking.
Yeah.
That's something good. I didn't have that cover, so it wasn't.
Okay, here we go.
Then let's.
Looks like we're trying to position just outside the move and attack there. And then where are we going from here? Because I believe that's Monica Rambeau up there at the top of the map, which is a devastating running attacker.
Can I bring barrier and debris?
You can't. I don't think you can.
We'll just do it from the Yeah, you can do that, yeah. Anything else?
I'll do it for now, and then when he figures out it's not.
So no big deal there.
It's printed for sure. But maybe you can if it's.
So just getting confirmation here, barrier on terrain that's no longer clear on the debris there. I believe that you're not going to be able to do it because the rule of occupancy, since the barrier terrain is going to be on top.
Characters, markers, of objects occupying or square of the blocking terrain is prohibited, except for debris markers being placed on destroyed blocking terrain. So you can place debris on top of destroyed blocking terrain, but you can't place blocking on top of debris.
There we go. So we got the official judge ruling. You're not able to do it because of the rule of occupancy, one of the golden rules here of HeroClix. But if you don't take the time to fully break it down, it can be really easy to make a mistake there if you're not careful. So really good job by our players here to ask the judge for clarification whenever they're not sure. So now how do we proceed here?
If you got any one shot, you take it. Okay, he's double coat. Yeah. What is that? Is that for there? I'll get you.
Free barrier.
So here we go, the free barrier. I don't think he can actually see that square though because of the symbiote.
Square.
Okay.
Look hand the win.
Here's towards your.
You'll see that right here.
But then just one circle around. Yeah. I gotta stick with the. Are we left for yet? No. Does it change?
Okay, we're trying to figure out where we need to be to get the blocking terrain where he wants it. It looks like we're going to try to slide Moon Knight down there onto that bottom square right in front of Spider-Man on the retaliation, and wants the blocking terrain there to be able to prob it. So there's Symbiote being used as a tie-up piece, attempting to keep Hulk under control. There's the retaliation.
We're going one thing adjacent to that square. Yeah, so I can only
5, 6, 7, 8. Should be able to hit it. Here we go. And it looks like that's going to be a dead Spidey.
Terrible. We will put.
And then we will punch your boy.
So here's the attack on the Blue Marvel. With a 9, that's going to be good enough. And Blue Marvel is still going to be alive.
then we play card.
So that is a crap ton of damage. Moon Knight just delivered onto two of Wade's largest attackers.
No red.
Was that a Tri-Sentinel card that just got pulled? That's insane.
Did it. Punch him. Do I care to do?
That card selling for 150 plus US dollars on eBay right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Falcon on Falcon Violence. Especially carrying the multiple man around is another extra damage on it for 4 total.
No.
Pick this up.
If you use it, those points get split 3 ways.
Here we go. We got Nathan Richards getting involved. And by picking up that object along the way, he's going to still be able to give a free attack power to somebody later on if he stays alive.
It'll respawn on your side until you can use it again. That 10 points
But the question is, what happens next?
I remember the retail. I forgot not to do any more damage.
So here it comes. There we go. Nice successful willpower on the Grey Hole. Looks like Rambeau did not succeed hers. We definitely still have enough attackers to get through any of these big dials, but if we take another turn or two, it may be too late to figure it out.
No problem.
Oh,
Well, my name
you didn't take mystics, right? But he didn't take
it will be 60 minutes.
You missed it. You missed this? Doing mystics?
So every Avenger has Mystics, thanks to the Doctor Strange there.
Third player who starting first.
Maybe shape change.
So we're trying to map out where Hulk needs to be to put in as much work as he can here. And we're going to be trying to climb as many points as possible here. He's not even looking down there towards that Moon Knight, because as far as he's concerned, there's other points on the board that are easier to collect. So let's see where we're going to go with it here. Monica Rambeau with the running shot is what it's looking like.
No, I don't. Sorry. Yeah, I can't find my copy of this.
Here it comes.
Anybody want something like that? Kind of it's elevated.
You have that right?
There's Genosha on the flip side of the factory there. This is
No, I just meant the line, but that's the direct tag.
And a really long shot here. Nice job finding this line.
You got a problem.
Here's the prop for it.
He has ESD, so you don't touch it. Oh, right.
And that's going to be it for Teen Lantern. And she does not jump back. It's going to be on a D6 roll. Let's take a look here at what his options are.
I guess. I'm gonna have to give it boot range, I guess. If I want to move around, so perplex up attack.
So here's the Perplexing Quake.
A little bit better.
There's the big Monica Rambeau. And it looks like that's going to be another miss there, which just is going to bring us down to Hulk and then Blue Marvel here in a second. Fails a shape change. And then Hulk smashing into the symbiote there. And I'm assuming that symbiote's going to go straight onto Moon Knight here. Not an attack that Wade wanted to make, but an attack that he had to make because he was tied up and decided to attack with Falcon instead of doing an aerial extraction to get them both out of the way.
Need 3, I'll take 2, and then I not do anything. 2.
So we're just calculating here, is it worth it to do this hit? Getting out of the way for the pulse wave.
Need a 9?
So no probs on this, no rerolls. This is just raw trying to hit a 9. I see a 1. That's not going to work.
That's like
And I think that's a crit miss for the self KO instead. Oh, that's right. This is the 5-point henchman that Wade enjoys sliding onto this team here. This henchman actually doesn't break theme, which is really cool. But other than that, it's just kind of a 5-point. There's Moon Knight kicking.
Yeah, dude, that was brutal. Brutal way to do it. Gonna retail on her. That should miss.
4 may not get it.
4. Okay, second.
Does it cost attack now? And I think she was only being ran at 50 points. So that's going to be a pretty direct KO. And then it's just going to come down to getting through this big old Hulk.
ESD still, right? Smooth thing. So there. Sidestep punch.
Okay, here comes. Ooh, another crit hit there.
So that's for 3, 4. And knockback.
That's going to be a dead Falcon, I believe, off of the earlier damage taken.
And clear Falcon. And you're go. Willpower.
And no go on the willpower either. This is just a story that the dice are telling here. We're not out of the woods yet. Dark Hulk is still alive. Strange is still alive. Tying down the Moon Knight.
Just using some weird from here.
Here comes Strange, getting involved in the action.
The darkest color is the highest.
Definitely the other way around. The darker color is the lowest.
So half darkest color is the lowest.
Well, like the most vibrant color I meant. Like this is solid pink.
Is this
Solid pink, light pink.
Is it just this?
Sorry.
Let's go.
I enjoy a little bit of light trolling from the casting desk.
Extraction still.
But there's just not a lot of options here left. It's been a pretty brutal showing from the Moon Knight. Especially a critical miss taking out one of your main answers to him.
Let's go.
It leaves very little other options. We're going on to the multiple man here. He's only 10 points, but you got to take what you can get.
No. Just move on. I don't think, yeah.
Deciding not to do the attack because he doesn't want to be retailed.
Is that what we did? Willpower, midnight.
He's relying on this henchman
He
to
didn't hit
tie up
anybody.
Moon Knight.
And
But Moon Knight does move through characters no problem.
perplex up my attack. He can't see me, so I can't.
So let's see if he decides to pull this trigger or not. And if he does decide to do it, where's he going to go with it?
Or no, I can't get there because
There's a lot of different options here. And none of them are right or wrong. It just depends on your preference of how you want to continue with the game here.
For this guy?
Based on the other games we've seen from this player, I think we have a good inclination that we're going to clean up everything else
Oh,
and
this
then
is lower
focus on the
elevation.
harder guy to KO.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
But here to here, lowest elevation to highest is this going to block?
the mid elevation will block a
Well, I
lot.
can just hit that guy, and then I've taken damage, and then I can retell.
He doesn't have the key.
Sorry?
He doesn't have the key.
He is the only one here without it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I killed him, yeah.
Yep. So he's going to kill.
So trying to do the Moon Knight trick of proccing Mystics on yourself
To kill your
to then be able to do the Colossal Retaliation.
to kill your strain.
I mean, it doesn't matter. At this point, you've won in the second. Moon Knight.
Well, let's do this first time.
So Falcon on the Hulk here. I've seen this movie recently. It was
I'll be a
pretty
12,
solid.
So I had an 18. For 5.
So there's that bit of Mystics damage that we were hoping for.
Now I
Here's
can
the Colossal Retail.
Choose a friendly opposing character that damaged a friendly character since your last turn. Place Moon Knight so you can make an attack.
Now we've got Moon Knight onto the Dark Hulk.
So 12 on 19.
Looking for sevens. Looks like he's got it.
Be a 6. I missed by 1.
Missed it by one. No probs on it.
But then we can run a shot. Shot. 2. And on him.
Okay, onto the Destrange. Well, looks like we've definitely got it there, but followed up with a prob. And that'll definitely do it. 4 is enough for the KO. And just a very clinical wrap up
I
here.
guess you might as well punch. 9. For this guy.
Willpower.
There we go. Successful willpower.
Quake. Yep. 12 on
Here
numbers.
we go. Try and pick up some points here.
The hit Falcon.
Where'd that pump come from? Yeah, I thought it was.
It looks like that's a no-go. So even with the main, the double targets, still not hitting. Multiple man is going to be an 18 defense on top. And just fully walking the henchman over to get into the action here in a second.
Willpower.
Jeez. Alright,
He did not actually hit, so we don't have the retaliatory action here. But I'm not sure if they're going to need it. They're just kind of wearing him down.
For 5.
We roll dice to see what we're going to reduce. We reduce by half of the die that we roll. Let me go ahead and give you this Dark Hulk card here.
Willpower here. Willpower here.
This should be the Hulk from Avengers 60th, if I remember.
no, geez.
Quake.
And here you go. So this is Hulk against the world here.
There are your 5 17s.
12 and 5 17.
Take 1 going knockback.
There we go.
Take nothing.
Charge punch.
And now that he's dealt the damage, he's opened up the retaliation option from
Because
Moon
he's
Knight.
got invuln.
Oh,
Don't know what his buttons here. I was double checking.
wait. Boom, and then this guy can't really shoot at nobody.
So here comes the henchman taking up the space here. And I'm fairly certain that he's lining up his figures together to just give Moon Knight a little bit of an easier time with the double targeting.
Move this guy to here. Retail.
There we go, lining up the enhancements in place.
Yeah. No, I missed. I hit this guy.
There we go, that should be enough for that KO. And then it's just Hulk versus the World here. We know Hulk is on a quick click. And then this is going to be penetrating, go straight down the dial. And that should be the KO.
I was worried. I was worried. I think the
So-
retail here.
It was.
Whew.
So
So really, really tough game there.
I didn't attack with anybody else. Was to
So-
not get
Did not get the retail.
So
Well, it sucks
really,
because
really
I can
brutal
get
there.
myself as long as the person is still alive. So.
Yeah, and I forgot to bring this.
Well,
So not much you can do with an
because I
opening
didn't do
like
this,
that.
I wouldn't have been able to sleep, dude.
I'll go ahead and mute that mic because they're about to lament the game. So that was a rematch from earlier in the event. Both players have already played each other and were very familiar with the teams. And then them doing the run back, historically in this matchup against these players, Wade tends to win these. So it's really cool seeing Dylan take one for himself here. He has a chronic habit of having a flawless run through Swiss and then immediately falling out of top 8 once the cut happens. So it's good to see history not repeat itself, go a little bit different this time. And then that was a really solidly executed game. Quick, efficient, not leaving anything up to chance. Every time someone made an attack, Moon Knight was there to finish it. Moon Knight was just playing cleanup crew. And I think that's one of the best ways to play him. I think if you overextend the Moon Knight to where he can get beat up on and kind of bullied, then you run into problems. But if you just run him like an assassin that just jumps in, bang, bang, gets a kill, it's just brutally efficient, especially if you're able to take out the key pieces on the enemy team and knock it out. But that's up for this cut. This is 400 points going into the top finish. And he's very, very happy regardless of the pricing. Ooh. So sounds like the other game has also already been decided. Ben is on a run here. This is 2 Moon Knights in a row Ben has taken down. We didn't get that one on stream, but I'm excited to get the next one. So I cannot wait to see what goes on here. I'm going to check in with the players and see what's about to happen, see if we're going to reset it. We're going into the final game here in a jiff. There we go. We're just finishing up that second round. Or sorry, the first round of the top 4 cut. The last game is they're just finishing up the dregs of it. A couple of like Flash Thompson still alive from John, and it'll just take a couple of seconds for them to finish cleaning up, and we should be getting to the next round relatively quickly. But I'm pretty sure someone opened that massive Tri-Sentinel card in the Battle Royales right next to us, which is pretty sweet. Oh. So I'm excited to see what happens out. I'm glad we don't have a Moon Knight mirror match. I'm glad we're getting a little bit different flavor. We really didn't get to see what the Avengers could do. They kind of got sliced and diced and disassembled. But that's what can happen if you don't get to go first. If you're on the receiving end of an Alpha Strike that ignores all your powers, I mean, there's just not much you can do. He buried in as close as he could, but the map is just a little bit too awkward to fully close himself off. So maybe map choice could be rethought just a little bit in order to help protect himself from that.
Dylan and Wade, you guys need to record your game still.
So this means that Ben, I think I said it already, but he's taken down the last 2 Moon Knights he's played, and he's going to need to do a 3-peat to take the whole event. Yep.
Sorry, what? Oh, yeah. Yeah, is that going to be different this time now that you know what's coming, or can it be stopped? Can the machine be stopped? That's what's it.
He's running a freight train on his way to a perfect tournament. Don't worry. I had to listen for 2 weeks.
I mean, we should still report though.
Yeah.
Because everything's recorded here for all.
So they're just calcing up points here, just so we have an accurate recording, which is going to be really, really important for the growth of the format. Any bit of data is going to be good to use. And yeah, we're just kind of wrapping up. We'll have top table first versus second here in just 2 seconds. So what's really cool is that this is our 2 sister communities battling out for first place here. Yeah, it looks like we're just starting to hang out, chilling. We're getting some chatting between the top players here. And I'm excited to see what happens here with this Pulp format. There's a lot of different routes that it can take. I don't think the format we're playing now is going to be the same format in 6 months or a year from now. Mostly because of some of the restrictions for team building. Once we get another set or 2 out, we'll get a little bit more life in the format because the newer CUR, they're not afraid to dip their toes into a little bit more complexity and just different options. And then I would also like to see a couple of changes to the figures that aren't allowed at all. It would be really cool to allow starter kit characters to be played in Silver Pulp, even though they don't have the correct symbol to match a set, because those figures fall just short of modern play, and they'd really need a format where they can play in and be an introductory format for players getting into the game. And if you really get into the game from starter kits, which is the biggest suggestion to do so, you should have a way to put those characters on the map and play for real. So that would be really awesome to see if they could make that change. Yeah, looks like we're just getting ready here. Yeah, everybody's packed up.
I'm glad to take these away from where that already happened.
You guys can feel free to take a couple minutes if you want to grab the bathroom or whatever.
Well, it's nice now because it's basically the same price. So we're both. It's like just
Yeah,
game, right?
yeah. And honestly,
It's more super.
one of those could be better than the other.
The chase is a
Right?
card.
Yeah. They pulled that Tri-Cent Keep going. Yes.
All right. It looks like we're just announcing the top two. It is definitely confirmed that it's going to be Ben versus Dylan here. And we're just going to battle it out to see who comes out on top. They're taking a couple minutes so they can, use the restroom, get a drink, get ready. With the top prizing being either a brick of Strange Tales or the Chase Booster. As far as these two players are concerned, they've had many, many chances at Strange Tales as a set. And so effectively these prizes aren't very different. I mean, they're both getting chases, a shot at a super rare and maybe a second or third one if you get the whole brick. And so just depending, what these players already have, how much of the CUR that they want out of the set, the line between first and second is more bragging rights here than, monetary value or anything crazy. If we're playing for trophies, I'm going to have to put the mic down. Yeah, they're talking about playing competitively between the sister events. Yep, we've got a couple of seconds. They're just sitting down now. In fact, they are literally taking a seat as we're talking about it. Yeah. Let me grab Ben's team again here. Let's see here. Let me just copy his name so it's accurate here, and we're just fixing this kind of live as we're going. There we go. Properties, and then let's find our Nightmare roster. And we're going to see if our boy Green Heath here is able to take out 3 Moon Knights in a row. This is going to be that same Stardust that we saw I think this was the last game we watched before we did the lunch break. And really cool defensive core here between Mr. Fantastic and Nort. And then we're just double checking here what maps are available. Because there's some maps that Dylan just really doesn't want to play on. In this case though, I'm not sure what he's going to end up deciding. Here, let me unmute so you guys can hear him chatting as well.
Yo, that's tough. Tough not picking first. It's still fine on my phone. We're just deciding which map to play.
No, let's play tomorrow.
You can definitely tell a lot of the pressure in the room has ceased. Just kind of friendly game between two players here.
No, it's not friendly.
No, he's very, very friendly.
It's serious.
If ignore the knife under the table.
Yeah.
This is some bragging rights though between the two sister communities.
Sorry?
No one likes a different community coming into your hometown and taking all your prizes. And Edmonton took 3 out of the top 4 spots here for this top 4. So our boy Greenheath here, Ben, is fighting for his right to be up here.
Is I feel like I should have
I one roll and I picked Matt.
I'm going to need y'all to line up whatever map you choose correctly.
It's on the markers.
Yeah, hide the green. Perfect. Bunch of clowns, bro. I mean, we're in the past between Edmonton and Lethbridge. I started playing in Edmonton, like that's my home community myself. But when I started playing, I heard all kinds of stories about Lethbridge coming up and just winning prizes after prizes after prizes. And then now, since I've been playing with the community and we've been getting more and more competitive, it's the script has kind of flipped, and now Edmonton is the one kind of coming down and bullying.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a heated rivalry. And by heated, I mean like a friendly competition, honestly. Because these guys are freaking great. I love playing with Lethbridge.
Got shell shots.
this game's on stream right now. Just so
And so we're going to see how it shakes out here.
So yeah, I'll probably, I'll try to remember that one. I'll try to remember Deadpool. Stuff that you
Okay. So we're all lining up. We're definitely no strangers to this map here. At this point, his setup should almost be automatic.
Hey, Avengers. I think we had Power Cosmic, right?
The two big guys are probably.
Yeah. Power Cosmic.
Yeah, so we're already familiar with these teams. I think this was the first matchup that they both played, maybe? And then there was definitely some lessons learned. I believe Dylan won that first match pretty handedly. And Ben has taken those lessons throughout the rest of the event, turned the event around, and has taken down multiple Moon Knights on his way up to the top here. So this is the run back he's looking for. And we're going to see if he's going to be able to put it all together. This team is absolutely sick, man. Let me show it to you. This is probably my favorite team of the event, honestly. Let me give you the big Stardust first. So there's the big Stardust. Full on 100 points. And this really cool power action pulse wave thing going on. We've got Zerathos, we've got LMDs, we've got extra range. Doctor Strange is here just as a support piece, not even giving everybody mystics or anything crazy. And so let's see how it all shakes out here back at the game live. So this is the new Nightmare from Strange Tales with his multi-target mind control that also gives out action tokens. So we've seen Ben here in the previous game he had on stream lock up the middle with this Mr. Fantastic that makes people have to do a move action if they want to move within a certain number of squares of him. And this Nort, which is going to give defensive bonuses to help keep the team alive. And then while they're locked up, he just slowly dismantles the team like a cobra squeezing his victim. So really, really cool run here. This was the first round that both of these players had today, and it's going to be their last match here today.
But mind controlling the enemy's team to kill Moon Knight for me.
Nothing kills Moon Knight as well as their own team.
You're mind controlling Midnight? Or mind control the guys. Let's go. He's got battle for
Okay, let's go.
So here we go. We're doing a little bit of a defensive setup. We've seen time and time again through the events today how important it is to be bringing barrier onto these teams. Because if you don't have a way to stop the alpha strike on these small maps, you're in for a bad time. We've also noticed that there's not a lot of long maps being played here, even though I know the characters have brought some with them. And so we're going to see how it shakes out off this defensive setup. We saw Wade's attempt to barrier it out. This is a very, very different approach. The barrier's on the high ground. He's chilling on the low ground. And that's the end of the first turn. So he's lost first turn immunity for anybody who's moved up. Everyone who's still on the baseline is completely protected. And so let's see how good this Rescue Alpha Strike team is going second. It seems like we're also going to barrier on this small area of the map. Now we haven't seen this Stardust Nightmare team do any kind of crazy alpha strikes cross map. It's a much more, slow moving, take space, and prevent anything crazy from happening here. But we're going to see how far he moves up this defensive core. So let's see what shakes out here. Where does the defensive core go? Where does Nort go? Where does Mr. Fantastic go? And more importantly, is he able to split the attackers up so that they don't get blown up together by this rescue pulse wave? So one of the options that he does have access to with Mr. Fantastic is if he can predict where this Falcon's going to drop off rescue. If rescue gets dropped off within those 4 squares, the game is up. He's not going to be able to do that running shot anymore because Mr. Fantastic's going to tie him down. And with the lighthearted nature happening here on the table, there's a very good chance that something just gets overlooked. So let's see how it shakes out here. I don't know if he's setting up on low ground or high ground. I like these distraction tactics out of Dylan. For a non-friendly game, there's a lot of banter happening. Alright, let's see where it goes here. So we're opening a bit of extra cards here. And let's see.
I'm looking for 2 cards to finish the collection. In terms of like having this one for every.
This is a very careful turn that we're planning out here.
Each get a prize.
Oh, they're trying to figure out who's playing what for Strange Tales, man. If I wasn't doing the casting, I'd be jumping in there myself. I have not opened up a lot of that set.
Rather be ours until 9 p.m. Sidestep, barrier.
Okay, here we go. We're coming in. There's just so many things to have to take into consideration for this barrier team here. And it's very easy to leave a gap open because this rescue Falcon combo has so much range. Like, we've already seen he can get all the way to the other end of the map, and if it's not totally blocked off, you really cannot recover from that damage on this kind of team, especially if it's across the entire map.
It's on the floor somewhere. Cool. I have to let my friend know every time I win in this with this.
And that might be a gap back there I can see on the second to last rank.
Perplex his defense. Who did you want? Nani?
And that might be,
I like knowing
okay. We might be about to see it happen here. Because we know he can get all the way back to that square, no problem. So let's go ahead and take a look at him here again.
And I might win the berry race because they're
There is
double
one.
pass, right? And you got one more berry now.
There's one gap to be used. Let's see if he can mobilize it and get there.
It's like 106 with one shot.
And that one gap opens up that entire enemy team for that pulse wave. That might be the end of the game right there. There's still a chance he can miss. There's still a chance he doesn't roll very well on the follow-up damage for rescue, but the 5 square running shot with flight to just go right over everything makes it so much easier.
I'm getting nervous, guys.
Yep. Ben was on the receiving end of this the first game, so he knows what's coming up here. The Falcons' additional range to get him 7 squares forward, so he's got to spend a 1 square to go pick him up. And then the running shot for 5 is just quite a bit to try to get through.
This one?
Is he 1 square short? No, he's got 6, 7 there with 2 perplexes, I think.
These ones are Rose, but I think she's uncommon normally. I'm not gonna lie, I would ask you about that.
So does he commit to it? Does he actually pull the trigger here? Or does he try to wait out until these barrier pieces are out of action tokens, and once they're open, pull the trigger then? It really just depends on how confident he is getting the attack in where it needs to be.
Spirit if I just mess around with placement here, like I'm just gonna be guessing guys.
So he's just going to kind of freestyle with the placement a little bit, get a feeling for where people need to be. Not actually committing to any action. Just trying to mentally picture how it needs to roll out.
You can, honestly, I do need to trade from, you can trade from a lot of because I have 5. That is my 5th one.
So looks like we're committing to the sidestep there maybe. Yep. Team player into the Green Lantern, of course.
Oh no, we can just move fans.
See, we aren't fully committing, I guess. We're still just playing around with the positioning here. Because if he does get this attack off, we really got to hope for a low D6 roll. Yeah, it seems like this is a puzzle Dylan's struggling to solve, even though he's executed this technique a couple of times, but maybe he's just 1 square short, and he's looking for a defensive play here to stay alive. Although I do not think that the other team has quite enough reach to pick up, to show as big of a threat as we're expecting. Yeah, so here's the movement, getting Falcon ready. Now that we're 1 square ahead.
I guess he's carrying a guy. Yeah, so we can't do that.
Okay, I gotta separate out the Yakuza. They're not in this deck.
Yeah, this is a very, looks like we're struggling to figure out how to do this turn. There we go, we finally picked up the terrain out of there, and we're going to be able to execute the barrier. And that 1 square forward that Falcon was able to move, and the 1 square that Rescue was up, means that he's going to have that extra bit of reach that he's been missing. So that little itty bitty move there is setting up for the next turn. So if he leaves another gap open, that's going to be all she wrote. There's nothing wrong with being patient in this position, especially if you're not confident of the execution there, or if you're one square short of where you'd like to be. This is a really solid stopgap of still staying safe, waiting out the barriers, getting those barrier pieces double tokened, and then on the turn that the shields are down, the trap snap closes. So let's see where he sets up at again. This is more of like a posturing match here, of trying to figure out where you need to stand without just dying once you get there.
Whereas for this,
I don't know if I can still glitch you with this.
I still only get those two guys, so let's and they want.
Okay, looks like we're starting up the positioning here. We're counting out the squares. This barrier is going to prove to be a bit of a problem, though, because Green Heath here doesn't have really good ways to get through it, except for this pulse wave that we've seen more than once here. That's going to be able to yank figures from out behind the protected areas.
Walk to there. That's probably one of the meanest things I've ever built.
Okay, here we go. Zarathos in the middle of the map. We still have Norton, Mr. Fantastic in the back, holding hands. And then what's going to be the follow-up here?
I guess we'll go for another. I have 2 stitches in this one.
Nice. So he's just going to go for it here, putting it all on the line. Checking some cards here, seeing where people's health are going to be, how they're going to line up.
I would love for there to be alternates. Not on the staircase. Walk the staircase. Oh, that's true. It's true. I don't think I could be upset. But it's like those are 2 perplexes. That is my favorite episode. EK.
I'm just going to turn that down just a little bit.
That is the favorite.
Okay.
Sorry. I wish we could see this guy.
Oh, that is Mr. Fantastic up there.
I mean, it's tough because of all.
That's probably this.
Yeah, really messed up the placing there. Yeah, I think he meant to carry the LMD. Instead, he carried up Mr. Fantastic. And just from the position of the pieces, I also thought that was the LMD. But Zarathos carrying Mr. Fantastic up there by mistake is quite tough there. So ducking Zarathos down into the low ground, trying to make it a little bit more difficult for the pulse wave to hit everybody, but he knows it's coming in. Here's the barrier. The barrier's going to do a good job of making it difficult to connect where he wants, but unfortunately, a misplay like that is going to make this very, very hard to go forward. So let's see. I mean, this is going to turn into a really messy game if this is the way that we're continuing here. I think the sense of relief of just getting through everything else into this top cut has made a really weird final game here.
I mean, at least you got your TK back.
So really solid barrier up here.
3 actions later, I care. I just went, never mind me. That's okay.
But now that Falcon's moved up, we've got the whole map reach, and we've got no hesitation here. I think we're just going to go in for it. You're going to see him math it out just to confirm.
Symbiote. I'm saying I'm carrying, so if I forget, getting carried. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Next, Mr. Fantastic.
Now, Mr. Fantastic actually doing a good job in the middle of the field. But Fantastic does need to have a line of fire. So Fantastic being up on the middle, that means that he's not going to be able to lock down as large of an area as he would like. Because he can't, unless he's on the edge, he can't see into the lower elevation.
This is our most destruction.
So if you're familiar with playing chess, a very common strategy here is targeting your opponent's weaknesses. And in this case, we've got a very broad-sided weakness and a very happy rescuer ready to start gobbling them up.
It's everyone except for him. Or I might even get. Oh, you're not the reason. Okay. So I can't get him either way. So that is the play.
Alright, here it is.
We take all 3.
We've mathed it out. We're placing. We're carrying. Doing the running shot pulse wave.
Place the there. Symbiote. And
I'm assuming he's already used the item to give him pulse wave for the turn.
that will hit.
A 17 is going to get everybody that really matters here.
18.
And Avengers gives the bonus attack.
Knocks back.
There we go. There's the damage coming through now. The knockback's going to happen after resolutions. And then, of course, we're going to be rolling the D6 for the rescue extra damage. And let's see where that ends up at.
Roll for that for damage.
Looks like a 3, so not too bad. This is about what you'd expect, but unfortunately it's KO and everything that matters here.
Take 1, and then go on move.
And we have finally, by the end of the entire event, we have successfully pulled off the pulse wave to kill the symbiote without nullifying the symbiote's KO effect. So we've been trying to pull that off for quite a while, and I'm glad it's finally been able to be executed here at the very end. So here we go with a running shot. We're going after Mr. Fantastic, of course. Once you're stuck in that position, he's not going to be able to move very well afterwards. Moon Knight only has a 4 range, so there's going to be no place where he can place and not be tied up. And that looks like a critical hit. Maybe that's a 4 showing on the other dice, though. That might be double 4s, actually. And that's quite a bit of damage already done to this team. I really don't see how Stardust and Nightmare come through, but Stardust is still full health. Zarathos is still represented. And here's the Spectral Strange hitting the map. I'm glad they remembered it. Better late than never. And then it looks like Nightmare has been on the receiving end of that pulse wave, and he's not going to be looking very healthy from here.
So since he's there, you're right if I do wait now. I guess we'll just. No, this guy's Spark Cosmic, right? So we'll just that with the barrier.
Okay, it looks like I disconnected from chat, but that's alright.
Yeah.
There we go.
What's this guy's defense card?
Who's that?
So we do have a route to victory here. Like, we're not done. It's just going to be a massively uphill battle because this is playing one of those teams. This is one of those teams where everyone needs to be firing on all cylinders in order to take down a character like Moon Knight. But I think here we're just going to clean up as many points as we can. At this point, if I'm playing the Stardust team, I don't even look at Moon Knight. He doesn't exist to me till everything's dead. I don't care if he's in my face. I don't care if he's telling yo mama jokes. Everything else gotta die. What's up? Exactly. Get the other 200 points. Clean up from there. Especially with a misplacement being the start of that downhill spiral. The worst thing you can do now is get in your own head and say, you know, I messed that up. I made a mistake. What you really have to do is focus in on what can I do from here. You know, this is my new position. How can I win from this space? So let's see how they decide to do that here. Yeah, I'm really not sure how we proceed here. This has to just be a raw running shot. We're ignoring all the pulse wave stuff and just dealing damage. So Nightmare is going to attempt to go on rescue. Looks like it hits. Sending 3 his way. So rescue will take 1. The defense power on that rescue, by the way, is of course defend and invulnerability, plus energy shield deflection. So here's the Zarathos extra attack. Still has to hit the 20. It looks like a slight miss there with no rerolls on it. Here comes Starbrand. And it looks like the 18 ESD is going to be enough to pump the brakes on this whole team. Zarathos getting his attack in now. Let's see how he does. There we go. So Zarathos doing the reroll. Looks like we've successfully hit. And rescue's on last click here. And how can we get more value from someone else? Looks like we're just going to have Mr. Fantastic just move up, try to tie people down. Keep Franklin away from rescue. That way we can't reload the object. Although it's important to remember that the object is still on multiple man. So it'll take a bit of juggling in order to do the full reload. So here we go. Just looking for a 7. That'll definitely do it. That's a KO there. Yeah, the only 2 people that successfully hit rescue would have been Nightmare and Zarathos. So we're looking for our retail options. So here we go. Here's the retail onto Zarathos.
We're going to free barrier there before we do that. Should get him.
No problem.
There we go. always prob with the character getting attacked if they have prob, just because if you lose, you're gonna just be KO'd anyway.
Reheal.
I can't fucking kill that guy.
This guy.
He'll go down and then with the.
Looks like we're just double checking what our next targeting is,
So if I hit him,
and it looks like we're deciding to go for Nightmare here. Nope, never mind.
it'll be there.
Oh.
Here's the running shot.
2, 3, 4. I guess we might as well double target. So we still got a problem.
Shape change?
Yep.
No good on the shape change. Here's Moon Knight.
Problem is
It's a heck of a roll there. Only hitting a 5. It's going to hit 17s. I don't think 17s is going to do the business here.
We have a chance.
No, we're still alive.
Let's try this out. Sky. Where are you good for right now? I guess we could in-cap. We can see both.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll in-cap.
Shape change.
Rescue looking for the end cap play here. A lot.
Avengers, that'll hit a
17.
Yeah, still only hitting 17s. So missed by 1 both times here.
one more. Do sidestep.
Yeah.
I think
Okay, let's see what's going on next. How do we end the game here? Because he's definitely in the driver's seat, but you don't want to prolong the game more than you have to. Because every time you don't finish your opponent, you're giving your opponent another vote, another chance for them to come back in some fantastical way. In this case, we're just going to be working on getting rid of as many figures off the map as possible.
Nightmare will shoot easily.
Shape change on me. You're good. How do you want to do it?
It looks like he's gotten them both. So there's Rescue finally KO'd. Moon Knight taking 1, sending the Mystics back. But Nightmare is going to soak the Mystic, so no damage taken. But importantly, Nightmare is now an object to be retaliated against on the upcoming turns. So let's see how we decide to proceed here. Because you don't really have a hope of KOing Moon Knight anymore. But the rest of the team is so far back, you're just doing what little bit that you can. So here comes the Moon Knight team. So let's see here. We're still holding the object with multiple man here. Rescue is KO'd, so it doesn't matter too much. And then of course we have Falcon to help mobilize. It looks like we're just trying to get the Empower pieces all the way over to Moon Knight.
Are you up here? You're on big, right? Okay. So we're gonna sidestep here.
There it is. Thanks to the Green Lantern ability, we're going to be able to carry.
Let me see.
Looks like we're doing the carry with Teen Lantern.
Dropping powers there.
And then leaving the space open for Moon Knight to be able to jump in as well.
Yeah, sorry. Like that. There we go. No, that's still. There we go. That's the ticket.
There we go. We figured out where it needs to be. Largely because we didn't want to close off our access to prop. So we've got the Avengers bonus here. That's definitely going to hit.
Pervious.
Impervial. Fails. We're going to take 3 onto Starbrand. Or Stardust. And let me bring up Stardust for you guys so we see what we're actually getting through here. So that 3 damage is, I think, the first damage to actually go on to her. So Stardust should be on click 4.
Here.
This table is open.
So let's see.
Unless you
I think we're going to choose to retaliate down on a Nightmare.
So I gotta make a close attack.
And then we've got the running shot to swing back up wherever we need to if we want. Or we can just try to double tap them. Now we've got dual targeting. There we go. Got Nightmare off of the Invincible, I believe.
Just there now? It's here? Really? Okay, we'll go there. What?
It has to be on this day.
This didn't pass.
Anything past that would be going
This is
Trash.
It's a constant struggle, but we learn a little bit more every time we play. And line of fire is not easy to digest if you're not familiar with how it works within the game.
Okay, willpower.
So we're healing up 1. So I believe we should be on click 3 now.
It's only had my prob on it. That would used to be able to hit there. Yeah.
There we go. We're just going to tone that down just a little bit because it's getting kind of loud in here. I have no idea how that loud that is for you guys currently, but hopefully that's turned down enough not to just be crazy. And then let's see where we go here on the map. Here we go. Nightmare is getting involved now on the map. I believe that's last declared for the Battle Royales, not for our actual finals. And a little barrier action, maybe. I mean, I'm impressed that this game is still going. But we are trying to scrap what little points we can here. It's just so hard to recover when your opening gets misplayed just from an honest mistake. And there's no way that you can recover it once the action's already happened and don't realize what went wrong until like 2 actions later. The usual rule of thumb here in HeroClix is that you could take something back, and the usual rule is up until you take another whole action. So if you misplace somebody on a carry, or maybe you grab the wrong character or anything like that, as long as you communicate with your opponent, most people are more than happy letting you take it back, adjust the positioning, do something else, up until you take the next action. Because let's say you decide to punch someone afterwards, now you're locked in. So here's the, looks like a running shot. Here we go. Falcon, it looks like. Oh no, you said multiple man. That is a heck of a miss. That's a crit miss. But multiple man's got 3 clicks of health, so he's still up. It would have been cool to see multiple man finish it. I mean, we do have a great lineup to do that cool pulse wave. I mean, we've got some pretty cool mind control targets. We're definitely still able to kill characters if we're looking for it. Okay, Nightmare double target. Looks like we're just shooting. Looks like we're probbing it. And there we go. We picked up some extra points, got a KO. I believe that's Nathaniel Richards that got taken out. We're just looking at Falcon next to Multiple Man. Oh, sorry, that was Teen Lantern that just got KO'd. Falcon, Nathaniel Richards, and Multiple Man still standing. Of course, Ben's another finals. Ben is an absolute beast of a player, playing with his own unique build here. Nobody's building like Ben, and I love to see it. He is on the back ropes, though, there, Sean. A very tough misplay here in one of his opening turns. Left him on the back seat, and he's been struggling to come back in the game since. But he's got his biggest 2 characters still standing, still working through them. The big pulse wave tossing damage around. But I'm pretty sure Moon Knight is only 1 click down off of max, and when he heals for free here, he's going to be right back up to the top. It's more of a question is he going to pick up the other 200 points? Not to say it can't be done, just that it is a steep climb here to try to get it. We're begging to the gods of chaos here, and they are brutal. And that's going to be 4 to him. That should be Nightmare KO'd. We've just got Stardust left, and she's about halfway through the dial. Oh my goodness, and we have Deadpool coming out for him. I've showcased that Deadpool here before, but let me bring it up onto the map for you here. The sideline Deadpool that can come in for monsters of 70 points or more is such a cool inclusion here. Just goes to show how good Ben is at team building. And so we've got the big 40 points up here in Deadpool. Here's the pulse wave. Not good enough for anybody here, and there's no rerolls. This is why you KO the opposing support pieces as early as possible. Because once you take the dice manipulation out of the game, you're subjecting that opponent to actual randomness. And so no matter how good of an attacker you are, if the dice aren't smiling on you that day, you're just not going to be able to do anything. So Moon Knight actually has to take the turn off since he didn't successfully land the willpower, and no one successfully did damage here. There's a big 5 damage punch from Falcon. Stardust is up on click 7. And Click 7 is pretty deep into her dial here. She does have her special pulse wave on it, but she's only got 17 defense and toughness. She can continue to heal, but there's so much pressure coming down on these last couple clicks. I'm not sure if she's going to be able to finish it out. And she's double tokened, I believe, so I think she's done here for this turn.
The dice have come back.
Heck yeah.
Perfect last three.
So here we go. Falcon on to Stardust. That should be a big hit there. Yeah, for another 5. I think that's the KO. And then it's just Astral Strange. There we go. Calling the crit miss. Not quite. Super Senses 4 through 6, I think. There we go. Astral Strange holding on against all odds here. This is the Astral Strange that is up on the field. He's not an attacker. He's not even really a threatening piece. But my God, he's here trying to hold on and get these last couple of points. He's holding out. Multiple Man can't hit him. Moon Knight can't hit him. Nobody can touch this guy. We have 1 damage. We have 1 damage and a dream on Astral Doctor Strange here. I don't think he can even damage half of these figures, but he could take Multiple Man down. Yo. Okay, he hit 4 through 6 senses. And that's going to be it. That's the whole game here. They're going to clean up a little bit. So, really well played final game. Just a little bit tough off the misplay there at the beginning. Yeah, just very classic mistake. Super easy to do on accident. So there we go. There's going to be the rest of the event. I'm going to go ahead and mute the background mic because there's so much talking going on back here, and I want you guys to be able to hear it. So Dylan took the event undefeated with his Rescue, Pulse Wave, and Moon Knight. And then Ben came in a close second place, fighting his way through the event. And I believe his only losses are actually to Dylan himself. Lost to him in the very first game, and then a loss here at the very back end of the game. Maybe there was one in the middle I didn't follow, but man, he put up a great event with a team that is uniquely his own. Ben is an absolute monster on the board and is playing in a way that's totally different. So I'd love to see what other builds that this inspires. And give him a round of applause there for winning. Well played, Dylan. Woo! But they're going to go through some prizing here. Can we even see it? So I don't really have good coverage on the prizing. That's on me. But we've got a brick being opened by first place, a booster kit being opened by the other. And I have no idea if they're opening it up now or if they're going to open it later. But it should be a bunch of fun here. We're just updating the final event. Let me see if I could ask him. Hey, Ben, do you want to open that on the camera? Oh, yeah, that'll work.
I can't even get it open. Hey, report your game first and then open.
Yeah, they're reporting the game first, but we'll watch him open up the chase booster there to see what he pulls out. Now, we're probably not coming home tonight. We may play a couple battle royales or something. And then we're probably going to be staying over somewhere in Medicine Hat, I think, with some friends of Dylan's. Really great people. They've been fantastic to host us whenever we come down here. But it's really hard to go anywhere in Alberta and not find good people, to be honest.
We score 15, 30. So, are we 15 better than last time?
Yo, which card is it? Hey, that's fair, though. Yeah, I was going to say, $100 for a Tri-Sentinel's fine. That's fair, man. Ooh. So they're just going to finish cataloging the game here. And I'm trying to see what's in this chase booster, man. But they're going to take a quick pick for top 4 here. Although I think Wade may have already left. He may still be wandering around here somewhere. I see.
Oh wait, no, I already know. Because you were just talking about way to go, everyone. Yeah, great. I do.
I'm just trying.
Oh, if you take
Show me what you got.
Yeah, I'm trying to see this thing get ripped open, man. I was hoping he was going to tell us what he was hoping for. Yeah, let's check it out. Here we go. Here we go. Man, we are struggle bussing to get through this box, man. This is Fort Knox. You've never seen a box fortified like this. Ooh, well done. Peeled that right off without breaking the box. Ooh, there we go. Excited for the rare prime. That is awesome, man. But there we go. That's going to be it for our CCO 400 Silver Pulp. I'm glad we got to show off some new teams. I'm glad we got to see gameplay go back and forth in very different styles. But it seems like at least up here, if Dylan's the one piloting it, Rescue Pulse Wave is the way to go. And Moon Knight is just the cleanup crew, man. If you can't stop him from getting in, you ain't got a chance. He's completely undefeated here. And he's a bit overdue for a big tournament win here. So I'm glad he was able to get under his belt. Very strong player. So a quick thank you to the judge staff. Absolutely fantastic. A quick thank you to Showcase for hosting us. And that's going to be it for us. So I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for the support. It really means a whole heck of a lot.